Inside here, you know, you get an insight and you know something, you know, but you don't want to say it out loud because you're kind of afraid that it's not going to be really true and it'll spoil the whole thing for you, you know. But when somebody makes you say it, then, and it's true, then it just makes it more beautiful of a thing.
Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love.
CGL.
This is just an absolute treat. These players are so damn good.
The talent on these teams is undeniable. Everybody on every team right now is making plays.
It's going to be an exciting start to the season, and it'll just get better from here on out.
We're about to step to a whole new era of Overwatch esports. So much exciting action is happening here on CGL that you do not want to miss. Look who's starting it all off, it's Raven.
No one necessarily figure out what is the right way to go just yet.
What a nice roll through! It's just gonna solidify everything within those.
Does come back, and Arsario gets the mech, but I don't need a mech. I'll kill 4 anyway.
This is just a highlight reel for Arsario right now.
They're making a statement in the EU Masters here.
This patch is still incredibly fresh. There's so much to learn, so much to change about the way we play the game.
NKC, but the shatter is colossal.
Let's get it going.
Trades keep coming through. Lores, you're gonna be able to find these shots true.
Inu on the overclock with 2.
Here comes an Apple immediately goes back like fine skills, slicing and dicing their way through 2, 3, so back and forth.
Lots of love.
hey, right before playoffs, I'm on Evo Jump with the wonderful Shadow Fang, and we have been yapping behind the scenes about anything and everything about this week's map pool and how much better it is than last week's. TOs. No shade, not my division or anything. I didn't play in this or anything, nothing crazy.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. And I mean, this is a really important game here tonight as well for the tier because BGSU sitting in position to make the playoffs right now. They just need to win tonight in convincing fashion too, because they're relatively close in map differential with, I believe it was Phantoms. So very important game for that reason. And Emerald Eagles is kind of just playing spoiler at this point. That they have not won a game yet, or a map for that matter. But if they could come out and spoil this run that BGSU is on, kind of having a redemption from that first half slump that they had, anything can happen. I'm not going to rule anything out, but that is basically what we're looking at tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the cards are absolutely in BGSU's favor here. That being, being the kind of 8th seed, quote unquote, to ride into playoffs after this week, and of course after the rest of the Dynamite matches do conclude this week, as well as all the other divisions as well. Playoffs just around the corner, the air of playing a little bit longer on the cusp of BGSU's horizon. But for the map pool, starting off on Busan, of course, it's gonna be a very, very nice look at this map pool. It's very, very beautiful. We have Busan starting things off, then we have Blizzard World, Hunasapi, Saravasa, then of course it's Gibraltar. Watch Point Gibraltar coming in on the map 5, and if it's map 6, please don't take me to that at any point. But there actually hasn't been a map 6, I think, on stream yet. We're not gonna make it happen tonight. But I feel like this map pool for this week has a really good variety of comps that can be played. Busan, all 3 can be played on Busan. Blizzard World, there's a dive, there's a poke that can be played there. Runasapi, beautiful brawl, beautiful rush brawl. Saravasa, same thing. Gibraltar, pull out that Winston, baby. Baby warmed up. Get that on a brig. Let's get it.
Yeah, there's absolutely that's what's been so good about the map pools for this entire season. I feel like every single week you're looking at just a wide variety of different comps that you can play across all the maps and really showing off that hero pool that all these different teams have to have.
Absolutely. And I think this week might be the most well-rounded of all of those. Like you arguably each map you can play up to 2 different comps. And you can play a 3rd comp as well, between the dive, the poke, and the brawl. But some of them just work better than others. I mean, I think the most interesting map that's going to be seen today is Blizzard World, just because of how flexible it can absolutely be between 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. You can go that dive and poke on 1st and 2nd, and then go into a full, Rhine Ram, Zarya brawl, or Risa brawl on that 3rd objective as well. But speaking of characters, speaking of anything going on here, Busan first and foremost needs some hero bans. So as we see BGSU Falcons choosing who to ban here, there have been some very impactful changes in the past couple of weeks. So I feel like one of the most impactful ones that can be made is either a tank or support ban.
No, I absolutely agree with you. Which way BGSU is going to go, though, really depends on what they're wanting to play. And I don't know, my initial thought here is either something like a Ram. I think Ram is really good right now. Or you could always go Ana. Kiriko. Okay, that's another support that's really good right now, so makes sense.
They banned my wife. I can't believe it. But the Kiriko ban is going to be limiting a couple of comps. They're going to be limited to double speed comps. They're going to be limited to maybe an Ana Juno Brig, Juno something. I think that's what we're really going to be seeing instead of the Kiriko, is probably the Juno, coupled with a character. Now, Emerald Eagles, they cannot do a support ban. They have to choose between tank or DPS. And it might come down to that Ramontra you were talking about, to even, I was going to say Malga, but that was 2 weeks ago, to even the Orisa. You can see also the Hazard maybe get banned as well. I mean, I think those 3 are very strong on Busan in general. And, I think Ram, honestly, right now, insane. That Vortex field, I can't move. If I'm trapped in it, GG's, I'm not moving. Oh, Winston. Oh my god, they banned Winston. Oh my gosh.
I can't say I expected that on Busan, but all right, fair enough. We're not going to play a Winston-based dive comp out here, it looks like. So we get the Kiriko and the Winston banned. So I guess Emerald Eagles is thinking BGSU is banning the Kiriko because they want to run some Ana Brig Winston type dive comps, maybe. And so they're like, no, you can't do that. We're banning Winston. That's my thought.
Yeah, and I was gonna say Winston. I feel like that's very specific to downtown, the downtown submap. Whereas Kiriko is good on all three. She's got Mecha Base. She's good at Shrine. She's good at downtown. I feel like Winston is such a specific sub. I'm not sure if I like it too much. I feel like you just play Ram, Orisa, and Zarya, all three of those points, and have a lot of success with it. But also with Winston ban, you can also just play a D.Va in downtown, and she does wonders as well in her hometown. So, you know, very, very interesting bans to see here. Kiriko, understandable. Winston, understandable for certain submaps. And maybe certain compositions. And without the Winston, there's no way to have that all-in dive either. So some things are going to be changing up a bit here, as you not only going to be seeing some different comps, but also different tempos being played, which is also interesting to think about. But here are our lineups, of course. BGSU coming in strong for this week 8. Fresh, Mr. Joker, Fatal Turtle, Kira Wolf, and Jimbo coming in as always to hopefully win it out and make it to the playoffs.
No, absolutely. This team has been on an absolute tear, really, since the mid-season happened, just winning every single game relatively easily, mind you, as well. The Oops All Vibes match was pretty close, but the other two games they played, I believe, were both 3-0s, so they're really looking strong right now.
They absolutely are. I'm so excited to see these guys. You know, they're in that 8th standing spot. I mean, they have what it takes. It's just they have to play his cards correctly. They have to get a perfect 3-0, get that perfect map win, and then boom, they're in playoffs. But let's go over to our Eagles. We have Emerald Eagles coming in, Vishnane, a whole Ohio coming through. Snicket goes again on that tank, and Artisio coupled with Strike TV in that back line. Again, gonna be a really, really fun time. Again, these guys, they're the underdogs today. They're absolutely the underdogs. They have been for the past couple of weeks, and we're always be rooting for them to do their best, especially on a map that I feel like everyone has played, everyone's comfortable with, especially on Busan. So I feel like for once, the playing field might be pretty even to start things off.
A lot of it's really going to be determined in the first fight or two, I feel like, because you really want to come out and just punch BGSU in the mouth. That's the best way I can describe it, honestly. And I mean, you can do that with Ramatra, I suppose, very literally, if you want to take that as literally as possible. But it really, that's the only way you're really going to throw this BGSU squad off their game, because they're really on a roll right now.
Yep. They are on a roll. I mean, in the first half of this, again, this is my division. You know, I've seen these guys through the standing, through the weeks. In the very beginning, they were kind of getting their footing. They had a couple wins, a couple map wins, a couple of losses. That's a-okay. But then after the mid-season, I don't know who's coaching them. I don't know what VODs they've been reviewing. I don't know what scrims they've been participating in. But they have really leveled up as a team here. And I also want to give my flowers to Emerald Eagles. Although they have not particularly won a series quite yet in this season, they have persevered. They have shown up every week to play this game the way they want to play it. We have these comps already kind of locked and loaded. We have a super fast comp versus a more slow-paced punish comp. So this fast pace being the Dragon Queen, the Lucio, alongside Emerald Eagles, who's running with the Mei to catch people off guard.
I think I actually like Emerald Eagles comp a little bit better, just to have the slow in combination with the Ramatra, and the Queen can't tend to get as much damage off. You need to probably burn this Queen relatively quickly if you can, maybe catch them with a wall or something. But I like the Ramatra over the Queen in that straight up head-to-head.
Yeah, I think the Ramatra does fare a little better in the tank matchup in general. We have Mr. Joker trying to come in the back line, gets saw out by Vishnane with the disruptive shot, and now here comes the rest of the team of Emerald Eagle, rocking around the left side, pushing BGSU Falcons over to the right, and they try to meet her in a rotation. Both of them get interrupted, opting to go over to the objective that is now unlocked, and now we have a slight advantage in this space. But speaking of advantage, now that they haven't dropped or contested that point, it's going to be, of course, BGSU Falcons getting the point first and foremost. The Eagles, however, pushed them all the way off, and now we're seeing a re-entrance from Mr. Joker. The fact that has already been expended. The beam is going right in, and they get a trade-off between Strike TV and Mr. Joker.
Yeah, absolutely great kills coming through from Fresh, taking down Ben Shea as well. Fatal Turtle has to go down right there, though, if Emerald Eagles want to take this fight.
They do, and the fight is going very well with Fresh, leading the helm, trying to get his last kind of stagger picks onto the back line, that being Artie and Whole Ohio. Already, Ultimate's looking a little bit even here, so it goes looking really, really prime and fresh to get this annihilation within the next fight, alongside the Blizzard from Whole Ohio. Vishney swaps over to the Cassidy, which I feel like we haven't really seen too much of the Cassidy in general, so I'm happy to see him come back into the fights.
No, I absolutely agree with you, and looks like Fresh also getting in position to pop this overclock probably pretty early here. There's no support ults available to stop this.
You're right. There's nothing to stop this. Here comes the shot already being expended to start things off with an aggressive angle. It's going to be starting off with the overclock as well from Fresh. Finally finds Artie Steele. Does lose 2 from the power of Vishney. Stinky Ghost is still on the objective. No one's really looking at them too much. Fresh has to play Ring Around the Rosie with this tank here. Gets healed up by their Lucio, by Jimbo. And now it's just another really big stagger. Gonna be putting a lot of pressure onto Stinky Ghost. But here comes the support. Here comes Rampage also online. Here comes the Annihilation. It goes all over the floor. Orbital Ray also being expended here on the middle of the point. Knife does narrowly whiff right over my Juno. Fatal Turtle gets the sound barrier from Jimbo to keep the fight going. However, the tree in the middle of my point. But finally, there's one death. Something has died today. It's 2 things, 3 things. It's even here.
An absolutely insane exchange occurring right now. Just the crazy sustain coming through. Whole Ohio taking down Fresh right there is going to be absolutely massive for the side of Emerald Eagles, though.
It's gonna be massive. Fresh not being there, that's your DPS kind of just gone. And I had to give my shout out to RDCO for honestly breaking some ankles in the air as the Juno with the glide, with the power, with the hyper rings, not dying to the from the rampage from Fatal Turtle. They were deathly low. They were able to find the orbital instead, and the fight went wonderfully for the Eagles. So this could be a little bit like they can play fast here.
Yeah, you really just want to try and build up your ultimates right now. If you're the Emerald Eagles, you're getting relatively close on this Blizzard. That's the big one you definitely want to get. You got to do something about Mr. Joker's Death Blossom that's incoming now.
You also got to do something about Vishney's Deadeye. Is right in the back pocket, gets procced open. Everyone hides behind the wall. Wow, no one's peeking. Ooh, you're getting a little bit too brave there. Saw the skull of victory, but couldn't pull it right in time. But Whole Ohio has built up this Blizzard, however. But Mr. Joker comes in with the Death Blossom. Here comes the Blizzard, however. We do get a nade off, I'm sorry, the Rampage off, excuse me, onto Whole Ohio. The Annihilation is coming through, but maybe this might be the win if we can get a little bit of pick here and at least survive long enough. But really good peel back means the Annihilation timer is gonna deplete, and since Nika goes back over to that spawn room.
Yeah, it does eventually go the way of BGSU. We're going to have a couple of last-second touches here. Fresh has this overclock coming out right now. Joker taking down Strike TV, and that is probably going to do it for BGSU on this map 1.
Yeah, not even Whole Ohio, unfortunately, just couldn't survive long enough on the Tracer. We actually get enough time, however, for Stinky to go over to the ball and do some wonders, rolling around the objective, trying to utilize these barriers that popped up. We get a last-minute touch, but I don't think anyone else is going to be able to fully capture that overtime timer. First point going over to BGSU Falcons on Busan Mecha base.
BGSU really just doing a great job of, getting it 99-0, and Emerald Eagles having to burn so many ultimates in an attempt to just retake. And, both teams did expend a lot of ultimates in that one fight where Emerald Eagles did retake. But at the same time, Mr. Joker was the first one to really build up to another impactful ultimate. Does manage to get a kill with that Death Blossom. Fatal Turtle follows up with that Rampage. And it was really just over for the Emerald Eagles at that point. They don't have a response for the Rampage due to the Kiriko ban. So that's probably, honestly, why BGSU banned Kiriko. I forgot they liked playing this Queen comp so much.
Yeah, and it's great because Queen doesn't really need Kiriko to play. You can play with you can play we saw the Moira, from Kira. Kira going over to the Mercy instead, can be probably giving Fresh some opportunities to click some heads and maybe even boost Mr. Joker's Death Blossoms as well with the damage boost amplifier that Kira is gonna have available to herself. Now, already starting strong for BGSU Falcons. They're staying on the objective. They're making sure not to peek this Widow from Vishney, but I mean, it's gonna be some eye being looked at RDCO, but Strike TV already pretty low on the Ana. has to play a little bit safe here. There's the pick I'm looking for. Vishnay finds Mr. Joker's head. That's the opening pick here needed for, of course, ooh, is what I would say, but Fresh gets the pick back onto Vishnay, and Emerald Eagles is going to be the one getting a lot of value by getting the objective first, but good comeback from the Falcons.
No, I mean, great job by Fresh once again, getting those 2 early kills there. Emerald Eagles taking this point, though, is actually super impactful. All you have to do is just really not die, but that is not what you want to see if you're already Seal.
Oh, was looking a little bit too out in the open from Vishnay. Finds a headhunter Fresh. Fresh doesn't get res back up, so it's a 5v5 fight once again, is what I would say. But Fiddle Turtle head sniped right off by Vishnay again. Vishnay gets called out by Fresh. The fight's still happening. The pylon able to heal everyone up on this other side of the objective. Blizzard onto Bob. I don't think he really deserved that. He's still shooting through the Blizzard. Stop playing with me. The Bob there really good to keep that angle open while Fresh kind of gets these picks off, especially on the Juno. If we can get a little Tiger Crest, even more amazing, and nearly whips it and over peaks.
Oh, that's a really good kill there from Vishnay. You should be able to, regroup and contest this point once again. Kira getting that res off, though, that's a tough one. You don't have Fresh down anymore. Now you're kind of looking for this Blizzard from Hull, Ohio. That's really your big ultimate here for Emerald Eagles.
Agreed. Tights is going to be activated here, looking for the Juno, looking for the Mercy as well. Even the Ashe on this right angle, but very good discipline to not peek these angles, but that allows the rest of the team of the Eagles to start pushing in with the aggression, knowing they have the safety net of this Blizzard in the back pocket from Hull, Ohio. Now is waiting things out, waiting to get a little bit healed up. One for one trade is the Reaper and the Ramatra. Blizzard gets expended onto the objective. Good wall off means that, not even seeing much of Fresh for quite a minute here. Good contest coming through from the court side of Hull, Ohio, but not for very long. Your Widow's not there anymore. You get called out by a team. You stall long enough to get just now wrapping the objective percentage here. But otherwise, they got to do it all over again.
And yeah, that's tough right there. Not really being able to catch anybody with your Blizzard. That was the big play for that fight, was to really catch at least one person with that. Now you're in a position where BGSU has this massive ultimate advantage. They've got the Orbital online. They've got the Death Blossom. They have a Diva Bomb as well. That'll probably just be used to remake, but still, it's a good ultimate.
It absolutely is, and even better when you get first pick onto Strike TV on the Ayari, then you get the Vishnay right after the fact. Annihilation is going to be expended here. Coach Gun perk to make you go a little bit faster, I believe, a little bit further. Was used there, but very much was so fast in Nemesis form, and unfortunately blocking a little bit too late. Gets burnt down by Fatal Turtle, and then we get the res off instead, so it's like nothing ever happened. The only thing happening for Emerald Eagles, however, is at this point is about a cap, and we only have the Orbital Ray.
Oh, I don't think there's going to be a touch either. It doesn't look like, that's a tough death right there. Oh, wow. And there it goes. Map number 1 going to go to BGSU.
BGSU, and I'm not going to say a convincing fashion, because it wasn't 100-0, it wasn't 200-0, it was pretty even for a lot of these fights, for a lot of these engages. Yep. I just think that there were some slight misplays being made by the Eagles, maybe some lack of respect from the Falcons for Vishnay's Widowmaker, and relying on Fresh to get those picks was really, really good at the same time, but also we gotta find a way to deal with Fresh. I mean, Fresh with the Kira Wolf pocket, that's a demon. That's a GM player. Get out of my lobby.
Yeah, I really think a lot of times Emerald Eagles they couldn't figure out where to aggress to on the point. They were just kind of being like, okay, we need to be aggressive in that direction somewhere, but couldn't figure out where, and that's how you get a Blizzard that gets thrown on a Juno that can fly away from it, right? Like, it's just, you don't know what to do because everybody's just moving all over the map. You're like, we know we have to be aggressive in this general direction, but not exactly where. And so if they can just figure out that little piece of it, like for instance right there, say for instance they just run it Fresh with the Mercy Pocket instead and toss the Blizzard in that direction, right? That maybe turns that fight in a completely different direction, but it's just not having quite that mission in mind.
Yeah, it's hard, with the combo they're running, they're meant to play a little bit closer together, but the background they had wanted some more off angles. They wanted to play a little more spaced out with the Juno. The Juno's that are speeding the Ram or May around, but then she kind of needs to back up a little bit or else she gets called out by Fresh. She gets called out by the diva. She gets called by everybody. So, you know, it's difficult to play. And I would love to see that same comp with maybe a Baptiste. Bring Bap back. Bring Bap back. That's what I gotta say. Bring Baptiste back. Bring us back to Bap Meta. A little bit. Bap Lucio, beautiful. And then I think that comp actually might have a little more success with the Ram and Mei if they had the Baptiste, if they had the Lucio. You know, Lucio speed everyone around, maybe do a little bit of 1v1s with the Ashe and the Mercy alongside, like, you know, a Genji or a Sojourn. Something like that, I think, would have really helped them out a little bit on that objective for Busan. But otherwise, we're going straight into the next map. It is going to be Blizzard World, which, again, gives a little bit of leeway into different compositions. You're not super hard pressed to play dive, to play brawl, to play poke, to play pretty much whatever you've been screaming and whatever has been working here.
Absolutely. And especially with Winston being available now, because, well, Emerald Eagles can't ban it at the very least. I don't think BGSU is going to ban it on this. I've been proven wrong before, though, so I guess we'll have to see what happens with that. If you're Emerald Eagles here, though, I gotta be honest. I think you're probably banning the Sojourn, because Vinchay did not seem to want to play the Sojourn, and Fresh was playing it a lot there. So I think you either got to go Sojourn or Ashe. Like, one of those two probably needs to be what you ban here.
Oh, we're banning real fast. We're banning Ashe immediately. Yeah, I don't blame you. You know, Fresh, again, I have to reiterate, Fresh was very solid on that Ashe, had really good aim, had really good stagger picks that I feel like went a little bit unnoticed and really did help basically waste time on Busan, get that percentage up even more for BGSU Falcons. Now, and Ashe is still going Blizzard World, so again, still a very solid ban, but for BGSU, between tank and support, I would almost ban like Juno. I would almost ban like a Brig, something that you typically see on Blizzard World that does get a lot of value. But I also won't be surprised if you see like maybe I would say a tank ban. But Ram, I don't think I was personally expecting the Ram ban.
I was gonna predict Brig, because I don't think I've ever seen BGSU actually play Brigitte, and it's like really good at denying a dive comp if that's something you were trying to do here. I was not expecting Ram though. I feel like it's really hard for Ram to get around on this map anyways. That's just my personal opinion though. I feel like even when you pull out your big arms, like, you still just don't run fast enough to get everywhere you need to be at on this map.
Yeah, you need Lucio or Juno with you, and I think that's what we're probably gonna be seeing, is that Juno make a reappearance, or whomever, you know, if we had a Ram, if, you know, we would want to make that the Juno or the Lucio. But we're gonna see the head-to-heads real fast. We have a substitution. We have BBQ Chicken. Oh my God, big fan. We got BBQ Chicken coming back here for a substitution, and because I'm seeing that Ana as a favorite character, I don't know, Fang. It's giving Ana, it's giving Ana Brig, it's giving Dive, it's giving... We're going to be seeing Winston Dive on BGSU side.
I'm predicting Ana Mercy. That's what I think's going to happen here. I could be off base with that as well. We just saw Kira run that Mercy pocket for Fresh. I get the feeling that's going to happen again. They might even run out with a Pharah with the Winston. I don't know. Do a pocket Pharah with a Winston dive. I could see that being a thing here. Or maybe Echo even. I really like Echo on this map personally, so I would like to see that. Not sure if people are really playing Echo like that at the moment though, so maybe not.
I don't know, actually. They really don't, which is really unfortunate. I also love Echo on Blizzard World, especially on defense, especially on first. I love having an Echo. I love, you know, the value she gets. I love that she can kind of play by herself. I don't really have to worry too much about her because of all the angles. I'm sorry, all the cover you get on first. But it looks like we're gonna be seeing. Okay, I'm seeing a Winston, but not quite from BGSU. It's gonna be Emerald Eagles instead, coming in with like kind of an all-in Winston comp. You have the Venture, you have the Sombra, you have the Juno and the Kiri. So Strike, I'm sorry you got target ban, bestie, but you know. I guess it happens. But we're seeing Kiriko come back, and you're right. You did call the Mercy Ana, and I want to see them cook.
I'm just gonna say right now, Vinchay was really solid on this Sombra the last time I saw them play when I casted one of their game matches. So just be on the lookout for them to just be going for these individual kills with this Sombra.
Ooh, gets called by Fresh really early on in the fight, though. Has to retreat for a minute. Can't even get set up quite yet. But here comes a dive coming through from the Winston. Forces Fresh to back off the objective. And Ana and Diva a little bit blooding behind. But look at all the space they had just opened up for the side of Emerald Eagles. But Fresh gets a one clean rail shot, headshot to Snicket goes. And that's the end of the fight.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go without your Winston, so you kind of just have to get out at this point. Regroup, reset for the next fight, do the same thing over again. I feel like this venture is going to have a hard time keeping up with everybody else. Everybody else has a way to get places very, very quickly. You can obviously dig with the venture and go where you need to go, but it takes a long time. Fresh getting this kills just back to back like this can't be happening. It's causing too much of a time stagger.
No, it is. Oh, Kira, this is an angle we're playing. I had to acknowledge that real fast. I actually didn't know you could stand on those little pillars, so that's some mercy tech that I'm gonna use. Not too much. He gets a big dive in, of course. Vishnu with Sicket goes again, pushes Fresh back off to these wider angles, and this is where the first kill got so much value because you could not too much, was able to find and peek out Vishnu from it being invisible. That's some hyper great awareness that Fresh is showcasing right now. Overclock already online at the same time, and everyone is just sitting duck for this overclock, and it will be procced open easily. And as Oholahao digs down, they dig straight back into the spawn room. Oh my goodness. But Vishnu's back here.
Yeah, but I mean, you really can't engage still if you're Emerald Eagles. You almost have this Primal Rage, but you don't really have much else to really deal with anything. And there goes the Diva Bomb from Turtle.
Yo, someone's gonna die in there. Yeah, that was a really tight Diva Bomb in a really small space with kind of awkward turns and exits. So I understand why it was a really good Diva Bomb as well. Shaving about 2 minutes off the objective, a minute and some change, a minute and a half left on the objective now. Oh my goodness. I mean, they have Primal, they have Orbital coming up soon, EMP, but we have those support ults for BGSU and a Deadeye from Joker.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, just throw in the Nano. You can give the Nano to Fresh or to Fatal Turtle here, and it'll work really well. But, like, again, like, Fresh just continuing to get these kills, that's another, like, 20, 25 seconds that's off the clock now. But Emerald Eagles might just engage down a player anyways.
Oh, they're not going to do it down 2 players, however. Strike TV coming out of Fade gets completely called out by Fresh without that imperative cooldown. Singing Ghost also getting a late stagger. Again, it is a really difficult... Blizzard Roll is one of the points where it's either really easy to roll right through and cap the point, or it's gonna be one of the hardest ones to break through.
No, I absolutely agree with you. And I mean, the best bet you're gonna have here is this Orbital, but the comp that BGSU has can very easily get away from the Orbital raise. So you have to put it in a position where it's like an incredibly good Orbital.
Okay, Primal gonna be expended, so is the Valk. Nade was also used early on, and that Nano, speaking of, not even gonna be a factor. The bounce down perk here helps secure the kill onto BBQ Chicken, and we can give this cast as well. That's also the Deadeye that's not even gonna be in the fight either. Overclock does come through, it does shut down RECO, but not before the Orbital Ray does come in. So it's a 1v1 trade-off. Fatal Turtle super low, but here comes the Tectonic Shock from Ohio. Diva Bomb does get utilized, completely disrupts the bubble, and kills Snicket Ghost at the same time. That was not the time or the place to die.
I feel like that bubble faded there at the end. Did that bubble fade right when it blew up? Like, was that just a timing unlucky moment right there for Snicket Ghost? I feel like it was.
I think Snicket Ghost was trying to shield dance a little bit because Ohio was on the opposite side of the bubble, and they didn't have dig, so they were just there as Venture. I think that like maybe like a foot or a head was out of the bubble, and unfortunately Snicket Ghost couldn't see it, and they exploded. And had that not happened, it would have absolutely been a capped sequence. When everyone else came back.
Well, that was almost a really great sequence right there for the Emerald Eagles, because you go in, you take down the Ana immediately. There's no Nano available. It's like that is exactly what you wanted to do with that Primal. It was like a moment of a really good play, but they just couldn't quite finish it. And that's kind of what we've been seeing from them a lot. They'll have these moments where it's like, oh yeah, you seem to know where to go, what to do to get these kills, and then you just can't quite get all of them.
but they had the opening, they had the primal, they took out both players that actually had they took out both players that actually had ultimates that were pretty much game flipping. They had the Nano and the Deadeye, and they were both out of the fight. Boom. You know, Mercy can only do so much by herself, but Diabomb was kind of clutch there. There is a slight DC, I believe, from the Eagles there, so that's why we're going to a very quick pause. Hopefully they come back, because after, I believe, like, the Possum or whatever, they have to play a 5v4, and I don't want them to play a 5v4. I want them to finish out this map, because it was a strong attempt at breaking up the fence, so I want to see how they're going to kind of take what they learned, especially with this extra little bit of time, and formulate a plan.
I mean, it's kind of the same story of what we saw on map number 1, right? People poking their heads out for a little bit too long, trying to stay alive instead of dying with the team, right? And when you do that, you just kind of end up staggering yourself more often than not, and that's what we keep seeing. We keep seeing like 1 to 2 players just being in for a little bit too long, dying 10 seconds after everybody else did. Now we got to wait another 10 to 15 seconds for you to come back. And in that amount of time, somebody else also died because they were trying to walk in, and like it's just a constant stagger fest so far.
Yeah, that's like the biggest. I mean, I'm a victim of it too, and I've done it where, you know, maybe like my DPS dies, but there's 4 of us there, we kill 2, we're like, we can keep it going, but as the fight goes on longer and longer, we're staggering ourselves, we're staggering them, but they have a closer spawn, and it still looks winnable. I just built up Nano, we have, you know, overclock, and we're gonna win this fight, and then we just keep going, and you shade off 2 minutes by accident. And that's one of the biggest things we have to recognize as a player, especially at our elo, at diamond level. We have to recognize at this point, we cannot have stagger fights. We have to die fast, especially with these respawn waves that we have now. They're so clutch. You die within 2 seconds of each other, boom, 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 you come back in 5 seconds alongside your other teammates. Because again, like you said, a lot of these fights started off with 1 big pick. They kept going, thinking that if we get picked back, we should be able to bring it back to the 4v4, and then Fresh plays Sojourn and gets pocketed, and then gets a lot of good headshots. So, you know, a little bit more respect, I think, also needs to be seen here. Respecting the Sojourn rails, respecting those sight lines, and finding ways around it.
And I mean, honestly, somebody's got to figure out how to put pressure on Kira Wolf. I feel like Kira Wolf is just kind of chilling on this Mercy for like 95% of the time, and that is just you got to at least make the Mercy jump around and fly around or something. You know, like just make them do a little bit of something to put a little bit of fear into them. You know, even if you're not necessarily going to get the kill, at least try and scare them into thinking you're going to get the kill. A lot of times, like I said, Kira Wolf is just sitting there full HP, not really being pressured in any way whatsoever. You're able to get barbecue chicken because they're on the diveable character, but then when it comes to the Mercy's significantly harder to get, and it seems like they're just not really thinking of going for her a lot of the time.
Yeah, and honestly, I can't lie, Kira Wolf is playing really good angles. I mean, she was playing like the slopes of the high ground. Like she was doing very, very well on the Mercy. Make sure she's not peeking people like Vishne, peeking people like Ohol Ohio. Speaking of May, Zarya, double beamcom coming in here. We also have Strike TV going over to their own Mercy. So that could be also very interesting to see, and how both Mercies are going to be able to, you know, give the best amount of success to Vishne and Fresh, respectively. Now, most of the Genji from Mr. Joker, and I mean, the dive here is going to be pretty much picture perfect. All 3 on the high ground bubble does go by the way of Vishne, who's able to back out, but Strike TV is looking prime for another dive. It's going to be RGCO instead, who has to back out really early on. Objective already being invaded by BGSU Falcons, but no real commitment quite yet besides the freeze from Hold Ohio. Now they become the primary target before Strike TV is the first one that goes down here.
And yeah, I mean, you can just see the difference there in the way the dive is just more coordinated from BGSU for a large majority of the time. But looky here, Emerald Eagles coming back with some kills of their own.
Yeah, they fighting back. RCO fighting back. We do get the res off onto Mr. Joker. Fatal to her super low has to be focused by Kira Wolf here. Good bubble on our Juno means that RCO gets a little bit longer. Maybe build up with this orbital rate a little bit faster. Strike TV goes over to the Life Weaver of all characters. So very interesting backline to be seeing from the Eagles here, as they have a possible last fight without seeing a ghost there to help out with helping to dissipate the pressure. It's just Hold Ohio trying their best to stay strong. They only have the wall, they don't have the freeze either, and as a matter of time before they cap it to that first tick, 33% is all they needed. 2-0 so far on match point are the Falcons.
Yeah, and I mean, a really strong performance once again from BGSU. They look like they have their coordination and their goal in mind a lot more clearly than Emerald Eagles do. Like you said, when we saw them dive, it was always multiple people diving at the exact same time. Multiple people are throwing this damage in onto these one particular targets, and that's how you take a Mercy out first. Right there. That's how you do it. Everybody's looking at the same target. Everybody's at least trying to hit. Maybe you're not hitting the Mercy. I can tell you right now, I'll dive a Mercy and miss them for at least a good 10 seconds before I decide to give up on that dive. But, that's how that goes sometimes. It's like, hey, man, I'm going to kill this Mercy. I promise I am.
In 20 minutes, don't worry. But we'll kill her at some point. I think one of the biggest things about playing Mercy, especially into someone like Pure Wolf, who clearly loves to play Mercy as their favorite character, you have to have that positioning and awareness to know where you're going to go and almost think ahead a little bit in terms of where you're going to go next. If they dive on this high ground, where am I going to GA to next? Who am I going to follow? Who am I going to play with? Where am I going to hide behind for a little bit if the fight gets a little bit nasty? There's all these little things that you have to be really, really aware of as Mercy, especially going into a really solid comp like the Winston Genji Sojourn sort of dive composition that Falcons was running. But before we get into our map 3, which is going to be Runasapi, we're going to be going to a very quick 5-minute break for our players. Give us 5 minutes right back for the third and possible final match on Runasapi. welcome back. We are here from our fellow 5-minute break. We're ready to go into Ruin Zombie. We're ready with everything for our teams. BGSU on match point. As a reminder, here are their pretty damn near perfect score lines here. 2-0 on Busan, 1-0 on Blizzard World, and on Ruin Zombie, you can only have it one way. 1-0 or nothing is what they're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely want to do this. They do this, they absolutely secure their spot in the playoffs, getting this 3-0, getting the 3-0 win here tonight. So I can definitely see them wanting to get this map done and over with, get through the regular season. But first, we're going to have to go into these hero bans and see what Emerald Eagles is going to ban out here. I mean, I think you got 3 choices. Junker Queen, Moira, Lucio. That's your 3 choices you have here if you're Emerald Eagles. You ban anything else besides that, I'm gonna be confused.
I'm gonna be confused. I have to agree with a JQ ban here. Queen so strong in Ruin Zombie. I feel like if it's not her, it's Ram. If it's not Ram, it's probably one like a bar or something. But Queen is just so strong, and it's gonna be. Ooh, wait, look at us. We got the Queen ban from at least from Eagles here. So Falcons has their work cut out for them. What doesn't go, if they're gonna play something, they're gonna play like the Orisa or the Diva, ban a support, ban the Mercy, ban the Moira, ban you can ban Pharah here, Sombra I feel like also would be we banned Sombra. I promise I didn't see exactly who they banned. I promise I actually don't check the spoilers whenever they do bans, and that's hilarious that she was Sombra, but for good reason. She's strong this map.
Yeah, I mean, Vinci is pretty solid on the character too. Fresh was doing a good job of catching them out last map though. Like I don't think I've ever seen a Sombra just caught out of invis that often by a Sojourn, so that was really good. But if that doesn't happen, it can be very, very bad for you. So good to get that hero out of the way, Hey, we don't have to be concerned about an invisible hero running around in our backline.
Yeah, absolutely, and especially with the way Ruin Zombie is kind of just like built. It has such good little corridors for a Sombra to TP into and kind of just hide out while she waits for healing back or whatever. So good bans all around. I actually love these bans, and we're also gonna be seeing a little bit of a substitution from BGSU. BBQ Chicken gonna be exiting the stage, gonna be bringing Jimbo back to us alongside Kira Wolf and Phil Turtle and Joker and Fresh, of course. Can't have my DPS is popping off. I can't lie. Fresh and Mr. Joker have, in their own right, been very, very impactful in these winning matchups into the Eagles. Eagles gonna be keeping their roster, of course. So looks like as soon as everyone's ready, we're gonna be diving right into the beautiful, beautiful world of Ruin Zombie. But again, everything's online here. This is for playoffs. You get a really good... If they get a map win here, if Emerald Eagles gets a map win, that actually will mess up BGSU a little bit more and make it less guaranteed that they'll get that 8th place spot for playoffs. It makes it a little bit scarier, between themselves, and I believe Upsal vibes.
I believe it's Phantoms, if I'm recalling correctly. There's a 1 map difference between the 2 teams right now. So like you said, if they were to lose this map, that would be, I don't want to say catastrophic, but it would make it to where we start having to do some math to figure out tiebreakers and whatnot. We start having to put our thinking caps on, potentially. I mean, Phantoms could go in and get 3-0'd by whoever they play, and then that's all a moot point. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, the math will not be done by any of us. The math will be done by the CGL website. I will not be doing any math around these parts. Oh my god, alpaca. That's alpaca. That's definitely a thing that they have over here in Peru. But Orisa, first time we've been seeing her come out from Fiddle Turtle. Orisa, very strong. I feel like we've kind of jumped into Orisa meta so far.
Yeah.
With Malga being, gutted, put to the floor, killed out back. So I'm shocked to only see her now once to be being played today. But Fiddle Turtle, he's gonna pop off with her.
Well, I mean, that's the rotation, right? If it's not Malga, it's Orisa, and if it's not Orisa, it's probably Malga. So that's like the 2 heroes that Blizzard likes to swap between for who's really good.
Oh, Vishnu gets a clean headshot. Doesn't even get the kill, however. fight happening pretty slowly in favor of Emerald Eagles. They want to play, they want to play for that momentum build up. And without Kira Wolf playing that Moira, that's going to be unlocking the objective to opening up the fight in favor of the Eagles here as the push bot starts to go right into enemy territory.
And I mean, good first kill. Kira Wolf going down means BGSU kind of has to play this little passive game. You've kind of shoved them into this room as well, and not really giving them much room to operate. And Fresh taking down Whole Ohio is not what you want to see, though.
Oof, yeah, speaking of small rooms, wanting to duke it out against a Cassie with that Hinder nade in that small room, not really what you want to deal with. If you're the side of Emerald Eagles, losing Whole Ohio, not what you want to see there. And then, just like Dominoes, the rest of the team falls down to Mr. Joker, and just with the Genji dash there. At least Arrow's gonna be coming back, and they should get a recontest before this corner here.
Yeah, absolutely true. And no ultimates really that close yet. We have Deadeye and Terra Surge. They're relatively close. Should be gotten here in the next fight. But I don't think either one of those are super huge, impactful ultimates anyways. But here comes the recontest from Emerald Eagles.
A little bit late on the pickup, but not late on picking up Kira Wolf and, taking the head off. Vishne again, having the high angle here, very much a little bit of advantage. But it doesn't mean anything if we don't go back to the objective. They're forced to now back up from this high noon. RDCL, unfortunately, not going to get the memo, but we at least trade off the Junos at the exact same time. And only now, they haven't touched, and they're about to hit they hit the checkpoint. Oh my goodness.
Oh, that's a prime example of the operation was a success, but the patient died. That's like the best example I've ever seen of that in my life. Because you get the first kill on Kira Wolf, and you just never stop the cart. So you just, BGSU gets a free checkpoint, essentially, in a fight that they did not win. Like, that is crazy good for BGSU.
That's why we say it's an objective-based game, not a kill-based game. Overclock ready for Vishne, but no supports to help sustain it, help them survive. Means that that's not even gonna be able. That's not even gonna be an option in this next fight. Only pushing it about 11 meters before losing the fight pretty convincingly against the Falcons.
They definitely did right there. A lot of ultimates online here for this next fight as well. You got Terra Surge, Coalescence, Orbital Ray, Blade, and then for the other side, for Emerald Eagles, you got Overclock, Blizzard, Annihilation, Tree of Life, and that Orbital is going to be pretty close behind those.
Which is what are they going to use here? We've now pushed past the checkpoint for spawns activated for the Falcons in this next fight. We have Overclock being opened up with Vishne around the corner. And as a response, here comes the Coalescence and the Terror Surge. Beautiful Tree of Life to kind of negate the power of that Surge. But we've lost our Life Weaver. There's a Blizzard in the middle of the fire around this tree. This tree is really cold, gets broken down. And just like that, using 3 ultimates for 3 ultimates on either side here, it's gonna be the Eagles falling victim and, not winning it out. The Annihilation does get proc open here. Filtero does find themselves in the end of on the opposite end of a really, really bad situation. But it's gonna be Sting It Goes falling down, right down to Mr. Joker, who has his blade in the back pocket as always.
And every meter you can get past this checkpoint is just huge value from BGSU. And then, this blade's online too. We could see this get ripped at any moment from Mr. Joker.
And they're set up. They're ready to go whenever. Nothing to really stop it besides the Orb. The Orb was a crazy one to try to stop Blade with, quote unquote. But there's nothing to really stop Mr. Joker from pressing the Q button and, getting some heads here. Going to the back line, we see the dash in, we see the kill. Oh, we get to pull out, the grip from Lifer, but that's going to be the cue that Mr. Joker needed to make sure that there is no one who's able to run away from this blade. Give me getting 2, both supports, but the sort of shot from this Vishne finishes Mr. Joker. Phil Turtle, however, still coming in with the aggression with Fresh on the Ash again. Bob ready to be expended. Wall is going to be shutting them down for a little bit, but not for very long.
And still, just a little bit of miscommunication from Emerald Eagles. Everybody's not really on the same target, so it's just tough to secure kills if everybody's not on the same page with each other. You really have to be coordinated to get these kills here.
Oh, Bob gonna be shutting down this angle. Good wall off, but even better Terror Surge, and it finds, Bob finding everybody actually. Coalescence just to help sustain the fight and get some extra damage output inside of this, or inside of this orbit array from Jimbo. Reaper comes in, but it's not going to be enough. It is a complete 3-0 from BGSU Falcons. GG's in the chat. 1-0 on Runasapi in a perfect map win. Oh, I see you going crazy over there with the Juno and the Ash. Again, fresh. Play of the game. Very well deserved. Very solid play from their hitscan player.
They did a great job all game on the Sojourn and the Ash, and I believe they were a Widow for a little while too, but just really, for the most part, Vinche was able to contest them a little bit when they were playing that Widowmaker on Busan, but otherwise it felt like Fresh was uncontested for the most part.
Yeah, it really did feel like it was Fresh's show. Fresh got all the angles they needed. They got all the open picks they needed. They were able to get O-charge. They were able to get bombed. They were surviving everything. Even when if they had died, the rest of the team was able to pick it up without their Ash. So, you know, it really was just the Fresh show. And when Fresh wasn't there, everyone else was able to pick it up and keep it going. And the momentum on Runasapi snowballed so heavily in favor of the Falcons that's how they're able to really win out a series that otherwise was Runasapi was a little bit weird. You know, there were some sloppy moments, there were some mistakes, but it wasn't being punished by the Eagles. So 3-0, that's another wonderful record added to themselves. They should be looking really comfortable so far, but anything can happen in the week 8 qualifier for playoffs. But in the meantime, we're gonna go to a very quick break, get an interviewee and hear from the victors, and be right back with that for you guys.
Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours.
And after a 3-0 series in favor of BGSU, I have BBQ Chicken here for an interview with us, the flex support, the backline of the Falcons. BBQ Chicken, bestie, how are we doing? I know you're rolling for a map today, but tell me what the vibes are from the team. How are we feeling, especially as the 8th standing right now to get into playoffs?
Yo, we out here. We lit. BG lit. Our chat was going off, you know. We just excited to win some games. We started off pretty rough, but you know, we're climbing our way back. You know, never count us out.
Well, all right. I guess my first question is going to be related to that. What do you think's been the biggest difference between the first half and the second half of the season for y'all, since y'all basically completely turned it around at this point?
We kind of started off with a new team. I wasn't here for the last session, so I'm new to the team. So we were just still adapting to a new play style, and we're all got that bond going right now. We're just really pushing us forward.
Yeah. All right, and I mean, since it's basically a guarantee you're going to make the playoffs at this point, is there any team you really would look forward to wanting to play?
Honestly, any team. We're ready for anybody. We ain't scared. That's all I got for that.
All right, bet, because I'll see you. It's okay. I'll see you. It's all right. This is my
take
division.
the challenge on. I hope to see you.
No, in all seriousness,
cool.
watching you guys from the beginning, and I think we mentioned it also in the chat, in the Diamond Tier chat, you guys' glow up and how you guys have been playing in the past couple of weeks has been a treat. And I cannot wait to see you guys in the playoffs after the rest of the Week 8 matches for our division concludes. I guess, you know, I guess at the end of the day, can't wait to see you guys there. But for your final question, of course, I can let you guys go and, you know, celebrate your very big win. Who do you want to give a shout out to on to the broadcast?
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to my mom, Mr. Joker. He's my little Peel. I love him as an Anna player. He's always with me. I respect that.
I love that. I love that. Love that. Love that. Love that. And, you know, that's really all we have for you. I mean, again, we gotta wait for the rest of these matches. Make sure that you are secured. You know, having this extra map win without dropping a map is gonna be really good for you guys' record. So I really hope that everything lays out beautifully for you guys. You guys get to go into the playoffs as one of the 7th or 8th seeds. Otherwise, any final words before we let you go for the night?
I do got some final words. For BGSU, there isn't enough yeast in the world for all the bread we make.
Boy, get on my chat. I'm gonna see you next week.
I appreciate it. I hope you guys have a wonderful night.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much.
Good luck. Good luck in the playoffs.
Thank you. Appreciate it, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what a wonderful, wonderful soul. And my man said there's not enough yeast for this bread we make. You know what? This is my division. I gotta hold that, I fear. But again, 3-0 victory for Falcons. Shadowfang, how we feel as we start going into the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, it's looking like all the teams might be a little strong, you know. BGSU, nobody really knows what to expect from them at this point, I'd imagine, you know, because they played all of the top tier teams in the first half of the season, so they probably haven't seen them since then. So they're like, oh, what do we expect now? Or is it going to be a lot harder for us than maybe we would anticipate one of the lower seeds being, you know?
Absolutely, you know, this is a message to my fellow top teams over here. You know, Lunar, Solar, I'm looking at you guys. Like, Death Blossom, you know, these guys have really leveled up. You know, it's not gonna be an easy cakewalk. It's not gonna always be a 3-0. It might be a map loss. It might be a sub map loss. It might be something. These guys have really improved between week 1 and week 8, as has everybody else. So, you know, you gotta keep an eye out for BGSU. They are really rolling through with that aggression, really rolling in with some really solid compositions, really solid players that are only getting better as the weeks go on. But again, we have a lot more matches coming at you for the rest of this week as we close out the regular season and secure some of these teams into their respective playoff spots between Masters, between Open, between EU, between NA, between Diamond, even SA as well. South America, yeah. We're never going to forget you guys as well. So lots of really fun stuff happening. Exciting week having it at CGL. But otherwise, shout outs to my producer, shout outs to my observer, and shout outs to, of course, my co-caster for sticking with me at this very late night. Shadowfang, any last words before we close it out?
No, nothing I can think of. I think you said it all there.
Wonderful, and that is all we have for tonight. Tune in tomorrow and the rest of the week for the rest of these matches. Otherwise, have a wonderful night, and we'll see you guys during the week.